Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Heidi Knobloch, and I'm the Field Manager for Action for Healthy Kids in Illinois. And today I have a couple of presenters from Action for Healthy Kids to present to you the How to Create a Healthier School Food Culture webinar. First is Caroline Rafael Blanco, who's the Regional Field Manager of the South and the Southeast. And second is Shannon Toulouse, who's our Massachusetts State Coordinator. So we'll wait just for another minute or so for a couple more people to join the call, and then we'll get started. So let's review some logistics before we get into the content of today's webinar. Once you're linked in, you'll see a control panel, which is usually on the right-hand side of your screen. You can then use your telephone or speakers to listen to the presentation, but everyone today will be muted to avoid static and background interference. There's also a dialog box at the bottom of your control panel where you can type questions into the box as we're going along, and we'll do our best to get them answered either throughout the presentation or at the end, or certainly via email following the webinar if we run out of time. And just so you know, the webinar is being recorded, and links to the recording and the handouts will be sent to you within 2 to 3 business days after the webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to give you just a little bit of background about Action for Healthy Kids if you're not already familiar with us. So Action for Healthy Kids, our mission is to fight childhood obesity, undernourishment, and physical inactivity by helping schools become healthier places. Our constituents are made up of moms, dads, teachers, students, school, community leaders, really anyone who has an investment in school wellness, who've decided to band together to create healthier learning environments for our children. And ultimately, we believe that everyone has a part to play in ending the nation's childhood obesity epidemic, and our programs, tools, and resources are those things that help make that possible. We were founded in 2002, about 12 years ago, by former Surgeon General David Satcher, and today we have more than 80,000 members. We also partner with dozens of professional associations, government agencies, and corporations at the national, state, and local level. So this presentation today is part of the Action for Healthy Kids Parent Leadership Series. Action for Healthy Kids believes that parents play a crucial role in creating healthy school communities, and we found that school communities that include strong parent advocates as well as strong volunteers are generally more effective at creating changes that are sustainable and permanent. So we've developed this series that was originally for parents, but it's also relevant for volunteers and other school wellness advocates that provide you with the tools and the knowledge you need to help make your efforts a success. So on your screen, you can see the topics that are covered in the series. They've been divided into 6 separate webinars that have been presented so far this fall and will be continued to be presented throughout the year. And we'll always have the latest ones archived for you to view later. Today's presentation, of course, is focused on the topic of how to create a healthier school culture. So at this point, I'm going to shift it back over to Caroline and Shannon so they can present the content of today's webinar.
Great. Thanks so much, Heidi, and thanks everyone for joining us today. We're glad to have you on the call, and we will be sending you some great follow-up information and resources following today's webinar. So a little bit of additional information. Today's webinar will cover various topics that encompass what is a healthy school food culture, some additional details regarding school food regulations, best practices that have occurred throughout schools nationwide, as well as some ideas for action, resources that you can actually take back to your school or your district to begin implementing improved school wellness environment, and more details and resources to sustain those great wellness programs that we'll be discussing. So basically, a healthy school food culture is one in which school policies and practices consistently make the healthy choice that is easy, including outside the school day and during special events, so not necessarily just focus on the school lunch program. School staff role model healthy eating habits, parent volunteers role model those healthy eating habits in the classroom, the lunchroom, the hallways, front offices, teacher lounge, so really looking at the whole school wellness environment. Students receive consistent messaging about healthy eating across all aspects of school during the class period, during their snack time, as part of a class reward, at a school celebration, or even at a family event, and also encompassing school food related to fundraisers as well. Parents can control some of these practices, and they can also have influence over others. So changes in these areas can have a big impact on the overall school food culture. So some additional information is that why is it important that school food culture be as healthy as it can be? We all know that our nation is facing an obesity epidemic. Studies have related the availability of snacks and drinks sold in schools to higher intakes of calories, soft drinks, total fat, saturated fat, lower intake of key nutrients such as calcium, vitamin A, fruits, vegetables, and milk. So we want to look at opportunities that we can increase those healthier food options within the school environment. So let's talk about the benefits of a healthy school food culture to support classroom lessons. Food policies and practices reflect curriculum, standards for health and nutrition, rather than conflict with them. A healthy school food culture encourages consuming nutrient-rich foods and contributes to good health. Students are less likely to suffer from conditions such as obesity, diabetes, hypertension. So you want to encourage best practices regarding school wellness programs such as these to create the healthy school food culture. A healthy school food culture creates excitement about nutrition. When nutritious foods are presented in a fun and engaging way, students are more eager to get involved and want to increase their consumption of those healthier foods. And finally, as we all know, healthy kids learn better. This is so important. Research clearly shows that good nutrition is linked to better behavior and academic performance. If you check out our great resources that we have available through the Learning Connection from Action for Healthy Kids, you can learn more about this connection. The Learning Connection is a great resource to help you make the connection with your school community members to show the benefits between physical activity, healthy eating, and learning with improved academic performance. So this is an easy-to-read guide. It's a special report that summarizes the most recent research that proves that healthy kids are better learners. So this is something that you can, we will also be including in our follow-up email. We have the direct link that you can easily provide to your fellow parents, peers, and other school stakeholders as you're promoting a healthier school food culture. So some additional information regarding competitive foods and nutrition regulations. How are school foods outside the school meals program regulated? So foods and beverages sold during the school day in a la carte lines, vending machines, school stores, and fundraisers are considered to be what we call competitive foods because they compete with the school meal. So if students aren't taking the school meal that's provided by the school lunch program, then all of these other competitive foods in the a la carte lines and the vending machines are really competing for the student fund as well. So current federal nutrition criteria for foods sold outside of the school meals only apply to foods of minimal nutritional value. So such examples are seltzer waters, hard candies, popsicles, but these do not address calories, saturated fat, trans fat, sodium, or other key nutrition concerns. So this varies state by state, but at a state level, 2/3 of states have weak or no nutrition standards for food sold outside of school meals. And what about the school level? How is it being controlled at your school? Nationwide, only about half of elementary, middle, and high school students are in a school with nutrition guidelines for foods and drinks that are sold outside of the school meals program. So this is important to know and to take into consideration because it's been shown that students in states that have stronger laws governing the nutrition content of these competitive foods and beverages experience a lower adolescent weight gain. So there is benefit to having those stricter guidelines. So also in addition to the nutrition guidelines, the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act, which was passed in 2010, helped to create stricter rules for the nutritional quality of meals served through school lunch and breakfast programs. The Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act authorizes the USDA to set national nutritional standards for all of the foods sold on campus throughout the school day, including those vending machines, the a la carte lines in the cafeteria, the school stores. Sometimes schools have stores on their campus that sell those competitive foods, as well as the school fundraisers that incorporate food items as part of their fundraising options. So a competitive foods component, or smart snacks in schools, applies to all foods sold on the school campus during the school day. So as I mentioned, during the school day does not include during after-school programs or any type of weekend event. So all districts participating in the national school meal programs are required to also establish a local school wellness policy that includes those nutrition guidelines for all foods and beverages available on the school campus during the school day that are consistent with the federal regulations for school meal nutrition standards and smart snacks in school nutrition standards. So new to the rules is the requirement to restrict the marketing and advertising on the school campus to only those foods and beverages that meet the smart snacks in schools that are part of those nutrition standards. So the wellness policy can become a platform for health and wellness advocates to promote healthy school food practices and really eliminate the marketing that's directed to schools at the campus level. So it's great to become familiar with your local school wellness policy or see how you can work with your local school wellness team to help to strengthen those policies. So some additional details for updates regarding the smart snacks and school rules were announced in June of 2013. USDA has provided an infographic that compares what foods are allowable as part of the before and what is now allowed as part of their smart snacks. The new standards go into effect during the 2014-15 school year, so all schools have now begun to implement the smart snacks and school rules, and you can find additional information on the USDA website as well. So in addition to that, smart snacks standards basically cover all foods and beverages sold to students on the school campus outside of the breakfast and lunch program, so in those other vending and other fundraising opportunities as well. The entire school day defined as midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the school day. So it does encompass 30 minutes after the school day, but they do not cover food served or shared, such as celebrations or rewards during classroom rewards, evening or weekend or even community events. If a school were to host an event off-site, the Smart Snacks rules does not encompass that. Or concessions at evening or weekend athletic events would not be covered. So you want to note that Smart Snack nutrition standards are a minimum set of standards. If your state or district standards are stricter, you'll need to follow those guidelines. You can also make your own guidelines even healthier at your school. So taking that opportunity and that benefit of seeing how you can improve even the weekend sporting events, the evening sporting events. So all events that are school related are encompassed within your school Smart Snack guidelines. So Smart Snacks in schools, foods and beverages sold as fundraisers during the school day are intended to eat on the spot are also subject to the Smart Snacks nutrition standards. State agencies will have the opportunity to set a number of infrequent food or beverage fundraisers that are exempt from the standards if they choose. However, even exempted fundraisers will not be allowed to be sold in competition with the breakfast or lunch programs in the food service area during that meal service time. There are no limits on foods and beverages sold as fundraisers that meet the standards. There are also no limits on non-food fundraising. So we'll also, later on today's webinar, we'll talk about some great opportunities for non-food fundraisers that schools have really taken advantage of to help support funding for their school. So in order for a food to qualify, it must be a whole grain product or a fruit, vegetable, protein, or dairy food, or a specific combination. Or it must also contain a nutrient of public health concern, although that standard will go away in 2016. So look for updates to the Smart Snack standards through USDA. It also must meet specific limits on calories, fat, sugar, and salt. And accepted beverages as part of the Smart Snacks guidelines include water, certain kinds of milk, 100% juice, but there are portion limits. To see the specific requirements, you can visit the USDA website, School Meals Smart Snack Schools. And some additional Smart Snack resources have been provided through one of our partner organizations, the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, and the School Nutrition Association. They've worked together to really create some great resources and have launched a series of tools to make Smart Snacks an easier process and help to make them more successful within your school district. So these online resources contain a step-by-step guide to help you get started, to implement Smart Snacks within your schools with presentations, tools, sample newsletter language, and letters that you can include to parents, to vendors requesting healthier vending options as well. So great resources available online that are easily downloadable. The Alliance Smart Snacks product calendar also allows you to look at the nutrition facts panel that you may choose for a la carte items, vending items, and answer a few questions and really determine whether the snack that you selected, if it's a snack, a side, or an entree item, meets the federal guidelines. So this calculator basically shows you if it meets within the requirements. The Alliance Product Navigator also features a snack, side, and entree and beverage product that meets the USDA Smart Snacks in school guidelines from leading manufacturers. So schools can easily browse by food manufacturer or by category and see specific examples of products that meet the guidelines that you can also incorporate within your school. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Shannon to talk about some additional resources and topics.
Thank you, Caroline, and welcome everybody. I'm so happy to join you and be able to share some of the ways that we can improve the culture, in healthy culture and food culture of our schools, because it's so important to learning, as we've pointed out in a few previous slides. But before we get into some specific ideas, we want to go over some best practices that apply broadly kind of to most areas that we're going to talk about today. So keep these things in mind when you're implementing any project or practice that impacts your school food culture. Start by making healthy options standard whenever foods are shared. So we're talking about things like parties, school events, celebrations, both in and out of the classroom. And this can include snack time, school stores, as well as vending machines. Next slide. Choosing fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and low-fat or fat-free dairy products whenever possible is school food opportunities. Water is especially important. It's so important for kids to be well hydrated in school in order to be able to learn. Kids need so much water, and too often we have sugary drinks that are a primary source of things that kids are available to our children at school. But, you know, we're not just talking about soda, we're talking about some of the juices as well. And as Caroline had mentioned a few slides back there, although juice is allowed and a healthy beverage, we also know that there is a lot of sugar and there are limits to how much we should be serving the school. The new USDA food school guidelines require that water be available in the cafeteria at no cost for school meals. So make water a fast, easy option whenever foods are shared. We want to limit or eliminate unhealthy choices that either interfere with the nutrition education, they send conflicting messages about what we value, and they make it harder for kids to internalize healthy habits. Shifting the focus from food whenever we can is important, and we can host events which promote physical activity, music, art, and games. Here are some specific ideas of the school food culture that we'll cover during the rest of the presentation. So we're going to talk about healthy fundraisers, birthday celebrations, any kind of celebration or family event that you host at your school, healthy non-food rewards, healthy snacks, nutrition, education, and promotion, as well as the healthy concessions and the competitive foods that Caroline was just talking about. So let's start with healthy fundraisers. Parents, we know that you play such a large role in choosing and running some of the fundraisers that support our schools, including the sport programs, music, technology, arts, and even field trips. So we want to do fundraising that promotes healthy living. And we need to take a look at our practices and are we doing that in our school? Are we promoting healthy living, or are we doing just the opposite? So, you know, unfortunately, it is really easy to make money selling unhealthy things. So the good news is that there are more and more companies out there that offer non-food or healthy food fundraising opportunities. And as for school or PTO or parent-run events, it's fairly easy to plan healthy food, non-food, or physical activity-based fundraiser instead. You know, we always want to know, though, are they profitable? You know, we do need to make money in order to fund these programs. And as more and more schools are putting non-food and healthy food fundraisers, it's becoming clear that we can generate profits from schools either equal or greater than the profits from fundraising selling the low nutrition foods. So here are some examples on the slide here. There was a school that raised $1,000 by selling some sport water bottles, by partnering with some business sponsors in the community and putting logos on those bottles. Walkathon, 100 students participated, as well as parents and family members, and they each raised $50 in sponsorships, and they were able to make $4,500. So you can see a couple other examples here. And the last one, the SCRIPT program, $30,000 that they made in 1 year for a healthy, non-food-based fundraiser. So here's some ideas for fundraisers that involve healthy foods and some that do not involve foods at all. So a couple of the food fundraisers we see that are more healthy choices are things like fruits and nuts, trail mixes, herb starter kits, farmers market. I know schools that have had local farms actually donate leftover vegetables and things like that, and the schools have sold them and been able to keep the profits from those. Some non-food fundraisers include things like game night, garage sales can be really profitable, auctions, candles, lotions, soaps, greeting cards, and there's several others listed here, magazine, prescriptions, subscriptions, and so forth. So note that when we're trying to put on a healthy fundraiser that we need to look for coupon books, script programs, and auction items that promote health-conscious business services. And next, more about healthy active fundraisers. Fun walks or runs can be really exciting to put on and sparks a lot of energy throughout the school. School dances, family obstacle courses, golf or tennis tournaments or other types of active tournaments, student and teacher competitions, kids particularly enjoy these because they actually get to compete with their teachers in a fun way. Walkathons, bike-a-thons, jump rope-a-thons, basically all types of a-thons, anything that you can imagine. Next. So active fundraisers are definitely the best way to go. You can get your school community practicing healthy habits in a fun way. Some ideas we have listed here are the fun runs or walks, the school dances, where I talked about those. The success stories. We love to share success stories here at Action for Healthy Kids. And here's a school in Hilliard, Ohio that hosted an annual fundraisers, and they were academically based, but they offered unhealthy rewards. And there was a parent that was kind of unhappy about that and wanted to make a difference, so she actually offered to organize an academically based a-thon, and she was able to give all kinds of prizes that went along with these events, like buffet lunches at local restaurants, and she wasn't thrilled about those, so she wanted to try and make a difference. Next slide. So more about this success story. She offered to share this a-thon fundraiser in 2011 and 12, and she organized a hippity hop-a-thon. Students were encouraged to collect pledges for their participation, and depending on how much money they earned, they could earn prizes like extra recess and the right to attend a school dance that was DJ'd by a local radio talent. If they raised $50, they could actually take home one of their own hippity-hoppity balls at the end of the event. And it turned out that this event was so successful that even every student, including students with disabilities, were able to participate, and they had a blast. And afterwards, the organizer, Kelly, actually received some phone calls from parents asking if they could buy extra hippity-hoppity balls to give their kids as Christmas presents. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Caroline, and she's going to talk about healthy birthday celebrations as well as family events.
Great. Thanks so much, Shannon. And it's great to see all of those details for ideas for healthy fundraisers. I'm not sure how the school food culture is in the school that you're working with for all of our attendees, but you really want to take into consideration what type of messaging, like Shannon mentioned. Are there conflicting messaging with your school food fundraisers? One example that I always like to mention is that we had previously worked with a school that had on an annual basis done the same fundraiser, selling cookie dough, cookie dough, cookie dough. It was pretty much the norm for their fundraiser. One year they were using the funds that they were raised to improve their school track. So they were promoting physical activity. They needed the funding to improve and refurbish their outdoor walking area, but really sending a conflicting message for unhealthy foods to increase physical activity. So really taking into consideration, the school eventually started doing a walk with the principal night and brought together community members and students, parents, and now that's become an annual fundraising event, and they've met and even exceeded on certain years fundraising options. So thanks for that great information, Shannon. So today we're going to also talk about birthdays, celebrations, and family events. These are all of the fun activities and events that we still want to incorporate, add healthy options, improve the school food culture without taking away from those birthday celebrations and family events. So let's get started with birthdays. Students' birthdays and holidays are the most common events that schools celebrate. At some schools, kids eat birthday treats as many as 25 times per year or even more. I remember at my daughter's school, they had 3 students' birthdays in the same week, and so they had 3 separate birthday celebrations with lots of unhealthy food options incorporated within those birthdays. So when you add in parties for holidays, birthdays, other holidays such as Halloween, Valentine's Day, the amount of calories from the added sugary foods that a child can consume in the classroom over the course of a year is really staggering. A recent study published in the Journal of Nutrition revealed that kids can eat as many as 1/3 of their day's calories need in a typical half-hour birthday party. So if you take that into consideration with multiple parties or events, even at-home activities, students' calories can really add up for those those unhealthy sugary foods. So here are some ideas for healthier birthday celebrations. As a parent, you want to work with the individual teacher, your school principal, to help establish birthday guidelines for their classrooms, or see if the principal, the PTO, the PTA can help establish those guidelines throughout the school, so it's not just specific to one grade level or for your student's class. If parents want to bring in something for their kid's birthday, ask them to donate a favorite book to the classroom library instead of bringing in treats. Help make this easier for the teacher with efforts to make a birthday child feel special without serving unhealthy treats. So a few ideas are listed on the slide. So some examples that really are easy for both the parents and the teachers is having the child be the teacher's helper for the day. Have them work specifically with the teacher for specific activities. I know at one school we worked with, they had a lunch with the teacher or a lunch with the principal during the week of their birthday. So that was great for the student. It was great for as far as eliminating unhealthy food options. So those seem to work for the elementary and middle school levels. Also for those grade levels, let the birthday child choose a game or activity for the class to do during the last few minutes of the school day. And for older kids, let them choose music that you would be able to play during class. They could listen to it at a certain time of the school day during their writing or study hall, for example. And help the teacher with logistics of sending out birthday information. So have a sign-up sheet already created with healthy food options for the parent to provide. So some additional information regarding classroom parties and celebrations is some basic examples of giving children extra recess time instead of the party. Have a dance party, get students involved in planning the celebration if there is a holiday event. We know with the holidays coming up, it can easily tie into several parents bringing cakes, cookies, sugary foods, snacks. So you want to help to have the students incorporate within the planning as well. So also have the students vote on a special class art project or craft that they can do during their school party as well, that they can incorporate that within the activities. And have the students come up with some healthy party ideas and create a healthy classroom party guide to distribute to other parents so you can get the support from all of the parents in the classroom to really support the teacher. We know that schools are doing a fantastic job of really regulating classroom parties, but as a parent, you can also help to support those as well. So some schools are moving to morning parties as well for their holiday parties or special events. And some advantages to this is that the anticipation and excitement doesn't interfere with classroom learning activities. Kids are less distracted. They're taking less time to schedule and coordinate things midday. And then you can also incorporate healthy morning snacks such as yogurt, fruit parfaits, muffins, and those are all healthier options as well. And also having breakfast is critical for learning. So kids will be starting the day off right. So you can check out planning guides from our partners as well. The Healthy Kids Club in Northern Colorado has done a great job of compiling some great resources on classroom parties and celebrations. So also activities and events within the school, there's also family events. So what you're doing to promote healthy options at both school and at the home environment. So you want to plan family events that get parents engaged and on board with healthy living, as this will create more buy-in and support for a healthy school food culture. It also makes it more likely that healthy habits will be reinforced at home. So any type of family events that you're doing at the school, such as health fairs, school garden days, inviting a local chef to come, giving the cooking demonstration or sampling some healthy taste testing items at the school. Physical activity events. We have a lot of schools that do field days, so incorporating fun runs, obstacle courses, movie nights at the school that promote healthy snacks at the event. Even offering family nutrition classes. So there's a lot of nutrition education that's provided to our students during the school day. Also incorporating family events after school hours to provide that nutrition education to the family so they can continue promoting healthier options at home. There's also sports competitions. We've had parents versus teachers do dodgeball games and activities. And looking at other opportunities that you can promote healthy events. We worked with a school in Washington, D.C. that had their school garden on their rooftop as part of their raised beds because they didn't have open green spaces. They invited all of the parents to come to visit the school garden during their beginning of the year school open house. And a lot of the parents never even knew that the school had a school garden. Because it wasn't visible to them when they would drop off and pick up their kids. So it's a great opportunity for the family events to incorporate the health component and the health activities and really promote the school wellness initiatives that that school was doing. They did a lot of taste testing items for the produce that they were growing, and they also incorporated creating a cookbook using some recipes from the students and the parents and incorporating some of the produce that they were growing seasonally that they would taste test during snack and lunch hour. So it was really great to see that really grow and incorporate the family and the school as part of a healthy food culture. So some additional healthy food ideas is when food is part of the celebration or event, you want to make health the expectation and the easy choice for students and families. So the key word here is that you're offering it as choices and options for the students. And you'd be surprised at how many students really opt for those healthier options. So offering a variety of healthy options, which include fruit, vegetables, whole grains, low-fat, fat-free dairy products, and water. At my daughter's school parties, I'm always the one that's volunteering to bring the fruit tray and water as healthier options too. So see how those easy items can always be incorporated within the celebration. Promote fruits and vegetables by arranging them in a visually appealing way. And I'm sure everyone is familiar with fruit art. There's so many different types of options that you can create. Be as creative as possible. On our Action for Healthy Kids Pinterest page, we have some great food art ideas that you can create ahead of time with your child and bring it to the celebration. Some schools don't allow for pre-prepared food, so what you can do is you can purchase those fruit trays or packaged fruit items and prepare it in the classroom as an activity with the students so they can make their own fruit kebabs and so forth from the pre-packaged fruit items. So sweets and other treats are present. Really offer them in smaller portion sizes. So not eliminating them completely, but offering them in smaller portion sizes and incorporating the other healthy food options so that there's a balance. Try cutting those treats in half, making mini cupcakes instead of the larger cupcakes. Little things like that really help to make a difference and help promote healthier food options. As I mentioned, creating sign-up sheets for those healthier foods and sending home those sign-up sheets with the parents as well. And then that way you're working with your teacher, the school nurse, if there's any food allergies. So you're eliminating any type of nut allergies or any other food allergies that a child in the class may have. So here's what I had mentioned was edible food art, or your, as far as, healthy fruit tray options. We work through even creating that Christmas tree for a school holiday event. for mixed fruit and things like that. So there's so many ways to be creative. We've got some creative parents, creative teachers that really promote healthier food options. So if you're arranging it in a way, students love to even create these items as an activity. We did these boo nanas in my daughter's class. So we had brought little mini chocolate chips, had the bananas, and we also did the orange tangerines with the celery stick as the stem. And it was so great to see them creating all of those items and then eating them as part of their healthy snacks for their activities. So as I mentioned, we have all of these great and additional options on our Action for Healthy Kids Pinterest page. So creating a healthier school food culture was a priority for the Wellness Committee at Norwich Elementary in Ohio. And they actually incorporated one of our Action for Healthy Kids school wellness programs called Game On. This is a free program for grades K through 12, and this serves as a framework for the healthy school efforts that this committee used to lead case testing, challenges, and other activities around increasing fruits and vegetables, dairy, and whole grains. So they incorporated the Game On programming information within their school day. So one example is that during the school winter fair fundraiser, parents were treated to yogurt parfaits with whole grain toppings. They had a few moms make some homemade granola to put on the yogurt as a topping, and then they gave the parents a recipe. And it's a great whole grain cereal, got your low-fat dairy and fruits, so it was a great healthy treat as part of their event as well as fundraiser. So people would taste the parfaits, and it was unexpected because it's not something that's normally part of a school carnival or fair, because normally you'd get snow cones and cotton candy, but the event went over extremely well. The parents were so appreciative, and it's something that's being continued within the school wellness environment. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Shannon, and she's going to talk in more detail about healthy non-food rewards.
Great. Thank you, Caroline. So let's talk about those rewards. Rewards are an integral part of your school culture. Rewards happen at so many levels across the school. Teachers, administrators, and parent groups offer rewards to recognize and celebrate student accomplishments. It could be anything from winning the latest competition or getting good grades on their tests, but it's really school health organizations and other experts recommend that non-food rewards be used as much as possible as best practice. Providing any kind of food based on performance or behavior can teach children to eat when they're not hungry, and setting the stage for unhealthy habits that can last a lifetime, and this contributes to the childhood obesity epidemic. So food rewards, like some of the ones we talked about, cupcakes and things like that in previous slides, are typically just high in fat with added sugars and sodium, and they have little nutritional value. And these rewards just add the empty calories to the kids' diets that contradict the classroom lessons that teachers are teaching about nutrition. So since the parents don't control the classroom rewards or rewards from principals or other administrators, making the case for non-food rewards from school staff will be how you can direct your efforts. Of course, you can always advocate for healthy rewards with individual teachers, and do something like find a teacher that can be a healthy reward champion. Maybe there's a teacher in the school that you already know does a lot of health promotion with kids, and that can be a teacher that you partner with to help bring that throughout the whole school. Putting up a bulletin board to promote healthy rewards, asking teachers to take no food as reward pledges, give a presentation about healthy rewards to teachers at a staff meeting, create PTO or PTA-sponsored guidelines around healthy rewards that your principal will support and champion, providing trinkets for the teachers to use as rewards with donations from the funds from the parent group. So many times teachers are paying out of their own pockets for little rewards for the classroom, and if you can provide healthy rewards that are non-food based, then teachers are really going to appreciate that. Recognizing those teachers that do give out non-food rewards So the goal of rewarding students is to help them internalize desirable behaviors and to create motivation for learning that comes from inside. So it doesn't matter how many apples we want a child to eat. If they don't want to eat them many times, they won't. But recognizing and giving them recognition in and of itself is a very powerful reward. Consider recognizing students during morning announcements, at school assemblies, on a photo recognition board, or on the school's website. Most kids enjoy hearing their successes acknowledged in front of their peers and their teachers. So don't underestimate the power of small, personalized efforts such as a phone call or an email to the student's parents, a handwritten note commending the achievement, or a certificate of recognition. Next slide. So non-monetary rewards involving privileges or opportunities for physical activity or other types of enrichment are also powerful ways to advance the mission of the school community and promote healthy living. Material rewards such as school supplies, trinkets, toys, and gift certificates can be donated by parents or provided by parent-teacher organizations for use on a more limited basis. So here's some ideas that we have listed here for elementary school students, for example. One of our favorites is that teachers that share special skills, such as a reward, like singing or playing the guitar in class. Kids love seeing their teacher, do different things like that with them. Brave teachers have even been known to offer rewards like kissing a frog or getting a pie in the face or letting students even cut their hair. It gets more difficult when you get up into middle and high school because the same rewards that worked in elementary school are not necessarily things that are going to be working in those levels. So trinkets and things like that don't always work for the older kids, but you can still be creative and find plenty of things that interest them. We have some things listed here like fun movie nights. So making sure that the rewards, next slide. Making sure that the rewards organized by the PTO send consistent health messages. We have sometimes PTO calendars or even just school events that have conflicting messages. What kind of messages are we sending? Avoid rewards that are centered around unhealthy eating, like in this particular example here, it's talking about a pancake party. Here are some different rewards that PTOs or parent groups can give out. Things like sports bottles that we had talked about earlier, movie passes, school-branded apparel, special time with a teacher, dances, parties, hiking, raffles, raffling off a bike or an iPod, something like that. But this poster here is very conflicting. So now we want to move on to healthy snacks. Snacks are really important for kids, especially the younger kids. Many kids do bring snacks to school, and sometimes school programs, school staff, or other parents provide snacks for the students to share. Children do need snacks to keep their bodies and their minds going and learning in school. As much as 30% of kids' daily calories can actually come from snacks. And if they're eating the processed grain-based snack foods like many of the popular heavily marketed options that are available, 2/3 of their calories can actually be coming from these sugary snacks. So eating well-balanced, nutrient-rich snacks throughout the school day can help ensure that the kids don't get too hungry between their meals, and that can lead to overeating when mealtime does arrive. Next slide. So making school snacks as nutritious as possible is important for student performance and for the development of healthy eating habits. We do recommend 3 strategies for healthy snacks. The first strategy we're going to talk about here is model healthy snacking. And it's one thing that we can do. Why not? Asking teachers to make a point of eating healthy snacks and drinking healthy beverages in front of kids. This can be challenging sometimes, but encouraging them to do that as much as possible is really important. And ourselves being able to model those healthy behaviors when we come in as a parent volunteer or other things like that, encouraging them to talk to the kids about how they feel better, stronger, and smarter when they eat this way. Kids know that they feel better when they eat healthy snacks, and that's why they choose those healthy snacks for the celebrations when they have a choice to. The same goes for parent volunteers working with schools. So see if the school can put a big fruit bowl instead of a candy bowl in the front office. My school actually does this, and we fill it up in the morning, and it's gone by sometimes noon and we have to fill it up again. But it's a really healthy option that, and kids, you would be surprised, will eat that fruit and would have to keep filling that bowl up. So brainstorm ways that you can, keep this something like a fruit basket full. Donations from stores, PTO funds, donations from families, and things like that. There's a small effort that sends a strong message to anyone entering your office or the front of the school that this school really values healthy eating. So strategy number 2, promoting healthy snacks. There are many ways to do this. Hanging up colorful posters around these themes and promote them in your newsletters, on your website, on flyers that you send home. There's a variety of materials available for promoting these messages. The USDA has My Plate icon, and this icon actually is replacing the food pyramid that some of you may still be familiar with. But they also have lots of free resources that you can order, like posters that you can hang up, promoting things like eating a rainbow, eating a lot of colored foods, because we know those variety of colored foods has a lot of good nutrients in it. Talk about slow, woe, and go foods. So those go foods are foods that can basically be eaten anytime. And the slow foods are the foods that we should be eating less often. And woe foods are actually foods that we should be eating only once in a while or for those special occasions. So ask if you can conduct periodic taste tests for healthy food items in the classroom, in the cafeteria, or in other places of the school. If the children try something and they like it, they're more likely to ask their parents if they can have it at home, and they're more likely to choose those healthy options for celebrations at school. Volunteer to make a classroom chart that tracks when kids are eating fresh fruits and vegetables for a snack. Consider offering non-food rewards when the students reach certain milestones. You do want to be careful here, though, because we do want to be sensitive to the fact that not all kids are going to be able to bring those fresh fruits in and vegetables from home because they're just not available to them for whatever reason. Next slide. So coming up with some ideas for providing healthy snacks as a part of your initiative, this is our 3rd strategy. Some families might be willing to provide extra snacks for kids who can't bring them in. Like I did mention in the previous slide, some kids just are not able to have those foods that they can bring in. They're not available for them at home. Perhaps the parent groups will have funds that they can be willing to contribute to snacks that teachers can keep in their classroom, the healthy snacks like fruits. Don't hesitate to seek community partners and funding opportunities that can help your school provide healthy snacks. For example, perhaps the school can partner with a local grocery store, and they would be willing to donate the fruits and vegetables to the school so the kids can have these healthy snacks in their classroom. If your school has a high free and reduced lunch population, sometimes it's easier to get those partnerships in your community. Next slide. And more about healthy snacks here. When you're providing healthy snacks, we want to work to put plenty of fruits and vegetables on the menu. We know fruits and vegetables are healthy. It's really shocking that only 1% of adults and 2% of children meet the daily fruit and vegetable targets recommended by the USDA Dietary Guidelines for Americans in 2010. So the USDA urges us to fill our plates, half of our plates at least, with fruits and vegetables at every meal. So for Americans, this means that we're doubling the amount of fruits and vegetables that we eat daily. And here's some good resources on the slide where you can get information about that. Next slide. So nutrition education and promotion. We know that a lot of nutrition education is sometimes done in the classroom, and it's the practice of teaching about how to choose and enjoy healthy foods and about the benefits of eating these healthy foods for one's body and their mind. Many school districts require nutrition education to be taught in the classroom. In 2010, we had mentioned earlier the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act as additional requirements that all school wellness policies include goals for nutrition promotion and education. So nutrition education and promotion can take place across the school, both formally and informally, inside of the classroom as well as outside of the classroom, places like the cafeteria where you can hang posters and promote healthy eating, all kinds of, you can do taste testing in your cafeteria, all around the school and at school events. Next slide. And so here's some more ideas. Parents can always encourage teachers to spend more time on nutrition in the classroom by offering resources, links to free curriculums. The USDA has a lot of those free curriculums that we had mentioned earlier. Connections with community resources. Places like the American Heart Association actually do have nutrition and physical activity curriculums that they will actually come in and do for your teachers in the classroom. They can also conduct workshops in the classrooms, or you can offer to conduct a workshop in the classroom if you happen to be an expert in any kind of nutrition, or even just know a little bit about it. There's a great resource from USDA Teen Nutrition listed on the screen here. And as you can, ask if you can put up signs that promote healthy eating. You know, like healthy eating tips for the school newsletter, or have a wellness team create its own newsletter or website that promotes updates on the school activities along with information about healthy living. You can distribute existing newsletters and add things from things like Nibbles for Health, which is developed by USDA. So these are pre-written newsletters that you can just simply copy and distribute to your parents or your school community. And it doesn't really take a lot of time and effort other than copying the pages and distributing them. So leading the student group is another idea where you can promote healthy eating. It will have a bigger impact when it comes from their peers. You know, sometimes kids won't necessarily listen to their parents or teachers, but they may listen to their peers. Next slide. So plan a fun, interactive family event around nutrition education is another way that we can promote health education in the classrooms and in schools. Taking advantage of events like parent-teacher conferences where you have that built-in audience. You can provide healthy snacks and nutrition tips. Plan a health fair. Bring in community partners to provide resources from different perspectives. There's a lot of people in the community that will come in and help you. All you really have to do is ask. So find out what organizations in your community offer, you know, what do they offer in terms of nutrition classes and workshops. I had mentioned the American Heart Association, and I'm sure there's many others that you are aware of in your own community that can provide that kind of education. Museums, there's healthcare providers, gardening organizations. Those are great places to start to connect those community partnerships. So in Denver, there was an area, Kaiser, which has an educational theater program, and they'll actually take their program into the local schools free of charge, and I'm sure that there are others in other communities too. You can lead a student group that's dedicated to promoting healthy eating. The students can actually be your champions for this, and it'll have a bigger impact, as we said, coming from their peers. You can plan food tasting that gives students the opportunity to try healthy foods, particularly when your school food service is willing to incorporate popular choices into the school menu. So not only do we have partnerships outside of the school, but we can find those partners inside of our school, like the food and nutrition services that will, you know, be willing to work with you on this health promotion and education. Offering taste tests for healthy school menu items to help them promote these items in the lunch line. The Ohio Action for Healthy Kids team actually created a toolkit for putting on taste tests, and we'll be sharing some of these resources with you. And so don't forget, every time you have an opportunity to share food, like all the activities we've already covered, it's an opportunity to talk about what we're serving and why, and an opportunity for kids to practice healthy choices and if we serve these nutritious options. So here's another success story we can talk about. This is actually in Ocala, Florida. And Spar Elementary used nutrition education, including taste tests, very successfully to improve their school food culture. As part of their Game On program, they placed a huge emphasis on healthy eating. So they asked teachers to address the topic with students. They used the student-produced school morning television show to let students talk about which fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and dairy products that were on that menu for that day. And they organized a series of taste tests that were offered to the students in different grades throughout the year. At one point, they did a vegetable taste test with 4th grade students, and it was the beginning of December, and the students had an opportunity to learn about and taste red bell peppers, cherry tomatoes, and yellow squash with and without ranch dip. And look at a quote from one of the members of the Game On team. About a week after the taste test, the teacher came into my office full of smiles. She had just allowed the students to select what they wanted to serve at their Christmas party, and they unanimously chose the vegetables from the taste test rather than cookies, candy, chips. And that's exciting to see that happen, having the kids make the healthy choices themselves. In addition to changing kids' attitudes about food, the school also experienced a dramatic increase in their test scores, promoting healthy eating and physical activity through Game On. And I would like to turn it back over to Caroline. She's going to talk about school gardens.
Great. Thanks so much, Shannon. So there's different avenues within the school environment that can promote a healthier school food culture, and school gardens are the perfect example to do this. I've mentioned a school garden earlier in Washington, D.C., but there's great options and opportunities for any school to have raised beds, garden boxes, full areas dedicated to school gardens. So a lot of schools nationwide are already implementing this, and some schools are trying to find additional information on how to start a school garden, so we can provide those resources to you. So school gardens, like I mentioned, they're such a powerful teaching tool. In 2010, a study of over 200 middle school students showed that kids in schools that offered cooking and gardening classes integrated within the classroom curriculum scored higher on those nutrition knowledge and showed stronger preferences for healthier produce, green leafy vegetables. The younger students increased fruit and vegetable intake by nearly 1/2 and servings per day. So we really see the benefits of incorporating school garden. It's very valuable for the children and also the adults to gain that hands-on experience to learn about real healthy foods. What the food looks like when it's grown. Actually, it was so amazing to see when the kids would pull the carrots out from the dirt to see how excited they were and wanting to consume those healthier options. So kids are more often willing to try those new foods when they grow the foods themselves. They take that ownership. Garden to cafeteria programs or produce grown in the school garden is served in the cafeteria. There's also youth farmers markets that make school gardening even more educational and sustainable. Even partnering with your local agriculture extension agency to incorporate volunteers, having the actual experts come out and work with the school on offering a gardening program is also beneficial. So look for local resources in your area to get started, and there are organizations or initiatives that provide the types of training, materials. There's also funding resources available to help support school gardens as well. Look to community and urban garden organizations or even local universities, cooperative extension services. Check out resources that are available here on the slide. There's also comprehensive information included on the websites and toolkits that are specific for school gardening. Grants for school gardens are also available from many sources. The National Gardening Association offers grant programs through some of their different partners, as do other smaller businesses or foundations and organizations such as Action for Healthy Kids, Lowe's. Really taking advantage of applying for multiple grant opportunities to support your school garden or your school wellness program. So you can visit the Action for Healthy Kids website to learn about our current opportunities that will be available for the 2015-16 school year and how you can incorporate them within your overall school wellness programs. Also, other organizations such as Lowe's and the Whole Kids Foundation incorporate funding available for school gardens. So in relation to school gardens, also is Farm to School. Nutrition education and promotion through Farm to School programs really connect grades K through 12 to local farms with the objective of improving student nutrition, providing agriculture resources, health and nutrition education opportunities, and helping to support local and regional farmers. So at its core, Farm to School is about establishing that relationship between local foods and the school children. So Farm to School programs, if you're not familiar, usually include some of the components that are listed on the slide. The inclusion of the local products into the school meals programs as part of the breakfast, lunch, after-school snacks, taste tests, also resources on educational tools, the introduction of food-related curriculum development and learning opportunities through school gardens, farm tours, farmer in the classroom as far as for speaking opportunities, chefs in the classroom, culinary education if your school has a culinary program, and educational sessions also incorporated for the parents and community members, and visits to the farmers markets. We know some schools even incorporate a farmers market as part of their healthy fundraising options. So you can visit the National Farm to School Network to learn more about how you can begin implementing this within your school also. Next, we're going to talk about healthy concessions and competitive foods. So as we had previously talked about competitive foods, concessions are sold at school events. Concessions are also the vending machines, the a la carte lines, food sold individually in the cafeteria. School stores provide an opportunity for schools to send consistent, positive health messages. So the a la carte items, vending items are sometimes operated by the nutrition services, so concessions, vending, school stores, those may be run by the school nutrition or the services or PTA, PTO, booster club, the sports program or another group. So really familiarizing yourself with which group covers both the healthy concessions and competitive foods at your schools. These types of sales provide fairly easy, lucrative money by selling unhealthy foods to students, which really conflicts with the overall healthy school food culture message that you're trying to do. So your first step in trying to make concessions and competitive foods healthier is to find out who runs them. Once you do, really working with that partner in a friendly and professional manner to help support the work that they're doing. Explaining that your wellness team is trying to create a healthier school environment and that you'd like to discuss the possibility of offering healthier choices, and really using the district wellness policy as a platform whenever you can for taking those school wellness policies and working with the appropriate parties to help implement healthier options. So it may be addressing vending machines, the school stores, making recommendations to set rules. Many policies state that competitive foods cannot be available during the lunch or breakfast window because kids will eat them instead of usually their healthier school meals, and they'll take away revenue from the food service itself. So if your school is not already doing this, consider it as an option. Vending machines are usually in schools for a contracted amount of time. So your school may have to keep the vending machines during that contract period, but really looking at opportunities as you either renew that contract or create a new contract with a new vendor to talk about healthy vending options. Trading some of those unhealthy food options in the vending machine for healthier ones. For example, some schools have changed as far as only selling water, 100% fruit juices, and other healthier low-sugar options. Sometimes you find that there are those sugar-sweetened beverages that are incorporated in the vending, and they're just not sold during the breakfast and lunch hours, but they are available at other times of the school day. So you really want to work with that vending contract to see what type of to really eliminate sugar-sweetened beverages completely from the vending machines during all hours of the day. Also seeing how you can price healthy items cheaper than the less healthy items. Studies have shown that lowering the price of healthier options, low-fat snacks, resulted in an increase in the sales of those foods. So there wasn't a decrease in the total revenue. So as you're pricing out the healthier options as being lower and the unhealthier prices as being increased, there wasn't a decrease in total revenue gains. Talk with local public health experts about grants or other ways to fund healthy changes in this area. Really working with your school and community members so that these changes are win-win. Our local health department here actually has created a healthy vending guideline that they shared with work sites, with schools to really incorporate healthy concessions so that those vending options don't serve as that competitive food. And the schools can continue to make money, and students will be consuming healthier foods and healthier drink options. So as we're talking about all of these competitive foods and concessions serving as an opportunity for schools to gain revenue, schools are always concerned that if they make any changes, their school will lose revenue if they switch to healthier foods in their vending machines or other competitive food venues. So CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, they've actually summarized all of the, as far as examples of fundraising options and the existing evidence of the financial impact on schools that have implemented the healthier, stronger nutrition standards. What they found is that while some schools report an initial decrease in revenue after implementing those nutrition standards, the growing body of evidence suggests that schools that have that strong nutrition standard and maintain, they have actually maintained financial stability. And in fact, most schools end up making more money as increased sales of school meals make up for the losses from any a la carte and vending sales. So from these resources, 80% of principals in one survey reported that there was little or no change in revenue when they implemented a state policy restricting the sale of junk food and those sugar-sweetened beverages in schools. So there's opportunities to still remain as far as the same financial gain and increase sales as well. So some standards for competitive foods, the Healthier U.S. Schools Challenge. It's a voluntary certification initiative that was established in 2004 by the USDA to recognize schools that have created the healthier school environment through the promotion of nutrition and physical activity. So this is an awards program that schools work on different initiatives related to many of the topic areas that we've already covered on today's presentation, as well as through our other Parent Leadership Series webinars. These schools are given a bronze, silver, or gold achievement award, and also monetary incentives when they reach those different levels. So the program includes specific criteria for competitive foods that can be used as a guide for selecting healthier options. And these criteria are updated to reflect the new standards for competitive foods that were established as part of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act that we discussed. The Healthier U.S. Schools Challenge also has a competitive foods calculator, so you can plug in nutrition information from specific food items to see if they meet that criteria. So really tying in all of the great work and effort that you're doing within the program to encompass that. So here are a few slides for resources on healthy vending, a la carte items, healthier options, low-fat options, low-sugar options, as well as things like school supplies, sports bottles, and logo-branded merchandise. And before we wrap up today, we wanted to just discuss an overview of sustainability, because now that you've started and received all of this information on how to implement a healthier school food culture, we want to be able to equip you with the resources in order to sustain those healthier food programs, to have it become a part of a permanent part of your school food culture year after year. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Heidi. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more slide. So there's two approaches that you can look at for creating a healthy change in your school food culture. And the first approach is to put these healthy practices into action, just like we described, really implementing this at the grassroots level for that approach. The second approach is to write changes into the wellness policies and school improvement plans by incorporating those practices into your school improvement goals to help you stay on track. So working with your school representatives, your teachers, your principals, to help develop those policies. So once the policy is in place, it's standard year after year. So this will depend on your current school environment as well as your school leadership, how you can engage other parents as well as the school representatives to support these policies. And you want to put those activities into a larger framework by incorporating into an ongoing initiative. So incorporating a school wellness framework such as Game On that was previously mentioned from some of our other school wellness programs, as well as looking at other partner organizations to incorporate those school wellness initiatives as well. So you can sign up your school for a school recognition program and certification to help create that sustainability, get any type of award, incentive funding as well through the Healthier U.S. Schools Challenge, the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, as well as any state-level certification program. And with that, now I will pass it to Heidi to review some of the resources we have available.
Great. Thanks so much, Caroline. So just a couple of resources that I wanted to share with you all, the first of which is our tip sheets that are part of our parent toolkit. So the link you can see is on your slide, and that is also some of those handouts will be shared in the follow-up email that are relevant to the information that was presented on the webinar today. So if you're eager to go ahead and take a look at those, I encourage you to log in or to create a free login and access those materials. Otherwise, we'll send the information in our follow-up email. The second resource that's listed on your slide is our Share Healthy Foods and Activity at School presentation. And that's a presentation that, again, is free for download. You can see the link here on your slide. And it's a great tool to share with folks at your school. It's a slideshow presentation that you can download and share it with any audience. Many of the slides that are in that presentation are slides that you also saw today. So it's a great opportunity and a great tool to use it to advocate for healthier school food and activity at your school. It also shares some facts about the obesity crisis, points out some of the inconsistent messages that we share with our kids through some of the common daily practices at school. And it also shares best practices and serves as a call to action to anyone that's participating or listening to the presentation to come together to make their school food culture healthier. So if you're struggling to get more folks on board at your school, or you're looking to kind of do as a next step to present some of the information you saw today, I encourage you to check out that PowerPoint presentation and really use it to challenge your school community to share healthy food and activity at school. So since we're a couple minutes past time, we're going to skip questions today, but I know a couple of you did enter them, and we'll definitely, in a follow-up email, Caroline will respond to those directly so you can receive the answers to those questions and get that information. With that, I'd like to conclude our webinar today. As I mentioned, we'll send a follow-up email in 2 to 3 business days with a link to the recording and the handouts. It will also include a registration link for the next webinar in this series if that's something you're interested in, continuing your education around school wellness. If you want to learn more about Action for Healthy Kids in general or how you can get involved with our mission and our movement, I encourage you all as your next step to take the Every Kid Healthy Pledge. The link there is on your screen. It takes just 10 seconds, and you can help us make a 100,000-person movement to make all schools healthier places. Once you've signed on, we'll show you ways, both big and small, that you can turn that commitment into action. So thanks again, everyone, for your time today, and have a great day.